You see where he's doing it there? Fair, or you could do it like that if you've got the strength. The other issue you've got as well now, if you're one of the last swimmers, you've got to wait for other people to get out of the rope.
Hold it up! Hold it up! Yes! Okay.
Welcome to a new video, episode 7, Against the Tide, Singapore Armed Forces, the making of a naval diver. These are elite troops within the Singapore Armed Forces. It's been a brilliant series so far, but let's get into it.
It's a dreary cold morning at the Naval Diving Unit at Sembawang. Into their 6th week of combat diver training, the men listen to a safety brief for their next challenge.
Today's our final 2K sea swim practice before our test. So it's our first time swimming 2K in the open water. We have to swim all the way to the yellow buoy on the other jetty and swim back within 58 minutes. The current looks quite strong today, so it should push us quite nicely on the way there, but coming back, I'm already tired, could be a bit more of a challenge.
2 kilometers, 58 minutes. It's about 1.25 miles approximately, pretty much bang on. It's a pretty tough swim. It's in open water as well, so like they said, you've got the currents which are going to be pulling you. These guys have been pre-exhausted throughout their basic training and now the combat divers course. They've done the drown proofing, they've been doing their physical training sessions, they've been doing the extra PT when they mess up, the press ups, the jumping jacks, leg raises. It's a tough task. It's what people don't realise when you join in the military is a lot of the time when you do these things to an athlete or someone who swims every now and then and goes to the gym, these guys are doing it all day, every day. They're not doing an hour or two session in the afternoon. They are constantly being tested physically and mentally. They're sleep deprived and then they get tested like this under these conditions. So it's a tough task.
The diver trainees are apprehensive. 2 kilometers in the open sea is no easy task.
Your body shouldn't be anything away from you more than a meter. It's a safety violation. If you're slower, kick ass. If you're faster, don't stop, just going. Your body should be chasing after you.
2K is not easy as well because like the previous one was just 1K. The other time when we did it, some of us had difficulty already. Like we started having cramps in between. So we will sure need to put in way more effort just to sustain this whole swim.
A few get the safety boats ready while the first group prepare to dive in. Diving instructor Second Warrant Raj inspects their safety equipment and life vests to ensure nothing is left to chance. The men focus on their mission. They need to complete the swim in under 58 minutes. The safety boats take their positions.
Once ready, I'll tell you execute, then you start swimming in your pair. Okay, myself clear. Yes, sir. Any question for me? No, sir.
As you can see, they're doing it in, these are, I'd say they're wetsuits, they're not dry suits. So they're doing it in wetsuits. They've got their flippers, as you can see, which is going to make it a little bit easier, but it's still a very tough task. I'm not saying it's an easy task. I would personally say the flippers would make it easier. But once again, you've got to chuck in all the other variables, lack of sleep, constant training over the last 6 weeks, plus the pre-training they would have done before. You've got the tide thrown into it. These aren't just swimmers, okay, which is what you got to remember. These aren't swimmers that are going to the Olympics and they're swimming all day, every day. These are fighting soldiers, part of the Navy, they're not the Army, but you know, these are fighting men. They're learning tactics, navigation. They're not just swimming all day, every day to get a gold medal. This is on top of the other job that they've got to do. So they have to be an all-round athlete, okay? They've got to be good at running. They've got to be good at marching. They've got to be good at swimming. They've got to have strength. And that's what you've got to take into consideration.
The weather starts to clear a little, a comforting respite for these men. Donning their swim goggles, they take the plunge in pairs.
Go, go, go!
I get myself clear? Sir. You do not swim away from your body more than 1 meter. Understand? Yes, sir.
I wonder what the temperature of the water is, because obviously that's going to be a factor as well.
Yes, sir. Extra kill.
So what they're doing here is, I've never actually done it before. I've seen it in previous videos with other sort of frogmen from different nations. It's a side swim, so they're not front crawling, they're not doing breaststroke, they're not doing backstroke. It's a side stroke swim, which I believe, if you've never done it before, you've got to know the technique. So would that make it harder if you're not the best at a side stroke?
As the weather improves, there's better clarity and the men start to speed up the swim.
Yeah, look at this. So you've got to do this in 58 minutes, doing that stroke.
The currents slow them down, but their determination to pass the test powers them ahead. The yellow buoy marks the end of the first kilometer. They have one more to go. The sea gets rougher and the current is against them.
It's obviously going to make it a lot harder. They look like they're moving with some pace here though. They do look like they're moving quick.
Fatigue starts to set in and some start drifting apart from the 1 meter safety distance from each other.
Which is obviously a big no-no.
Abandoning your body, man. Let's go. Last 400 meters. Almost there.
Remember, you're always working in a team, okay? It's a team effort. Yes, you've got to pass individually, but they don't want people who can just do things on their own, because when you go out on ops, as I've said before, you're always going to be working in a team, so you need to be a team player. Yes, you want to hope you get someone that's the same ability as you, but if that buddy's slowing down, you know, for safety reasons, you stick with him.
The challenging part is coming back. You're really you're feeling very exhausted already, and then when you want to reach back, you just have to like push yourself all the way. And then if your buddy is tired, you just have to push him also. But if both of them are tired, then there's no way you can push each other. So it's just all in your mind. Definitely more tiring.
And the waves and the water is actually cold and warm at the same time. Some parts cold, sometimes warm. Then the waves, so it's a whole totally new experience for us. I just followed him all the way. We motivate each other. Like during the swim, if he off course, he would tell me, "Peter, come closer."
And that's how it should be.
As close as possible to him.
Yeah, it's just a lot of yelling at each other.
And that's how it should be. There's a lot of yelling at each other, keeping in line, okay? And this goes across to when you say doing contact drills, section attack. You want to keep your distance. You don't want to bunch up too closely if you don't have to, say, unless you're in a narrow corridor. But if you're in, say, a wood block and you're doing contact drills, if your buddies come in too close to you, like, you know, when I was doing contact drills, when they were coming too close to me, I'd be like, "Oh, push right," or I would try and move left. Come closer, you're getting too far away. And that's what this is helping as well. It's teaching that, you know, right, we get taught safety distances, we get taught distances, we need to stick with it. So if you need to shout at your mate, shout at your mate.
Diver trainees Rohan and Peter arrive in good time, with minutes to spare, completing the 2 kilometer swim well under the passing mark.
Nice.
They're strong swimmers, but they have one more hurdle to overcome.
So they've got to climb out by a rope.
The only way up is through these ropes.
And you're already exhausted. And you got flippers. I know,
While
they've
these two
got
make it
the
up
flippers
without
on
a
still.
hitch, the others struggle through the climb.
I wonder how hard this is actually with flippers on. Because with boots, you just use your feet.
It's more of a technique than sheer arm power, and they need to master this to keep within the timing and pass the test.
Oh no, come on mate. Use your legs, use your legs. What people don't realise, climbing a rope is all technique. It's all in the legs. If you try and use your arms, you're going to be exhausted and you're going to struggle, especially after swim. Right, the leg muscles, the quadriceps, the hamstrings, the glutes, biggest muscles in the body, okay? When climbing a rope, unless you're told to do it arm only, like a PT session, all about getting that grip with your feet and your ankles and your legs, squeezing tight, getting your knees up to your chest as high as possible, and then just climbing up with your arms, okay? Don't try and put too much strain on your arms because you won't be able to do it. You see where he's doing it there? Or you could do it like that if you've got the strength. The other issue you've got as well now, if you're one of the last swimmers, you've got to wait for other people to get out the rope.
Hold it up, hold it up. Yes. Okay, lock it. One more, okay? Lock it again. Wow. One more, come on. Come on. All right.
Nice.
Okay, outstanding. See, you can do it. Right now.
Failed by maybe 1 minute or so. Yep, but at least now we know where we are now. So at least next time we need to put a bit more effort to make the timing.
Another brilliant episode, which I think you can take a lot away from, that incorporate into other parts of the military, other sort of tasks that you may be tasked with. Like I said, you know, you're swimming with your buddy, teamwork. You know, you're never an individual screaming and shouting at each other, one to motivate each other. But, you know, if your buddy's getting too far away from you, swimming or in a contact drill, tell them to move closer, tell them to move further away if they're too close. You know, communication is key. Constantly talk to each other, let each other know what's going on, so everyone's got full situational awareness. Situational awareness is one of the most important things that you need in the military, okay? And it transitions over, say, into swimming. If your buddy's moving away from you and all you're doing is just concentrating on swimming, you're losing situational awareness. And if you do that in a contact and all you're doing is focused on this one enemy in front of you, but you don't know what's going to the left, right and behind you, and you don't know what's going on around you, then you're more than likely the worst is going to happen, because you might end up getting too close to a mate, you might get in their firing line, you might not see another enemy over there. Don't just focus and become tunnel visioned. You need full situational awareness. But you've got to take hats off to these guys. They're young. I think majority of them are all conscripts, or the majority of them are. You know, look at them. They all look very, very young. And they're getting pushed to limits. Yeah, they're most probably at the peak of their fitness. They're young lads and they can push through, but they haven't got much life experience or anything like that. And, you know, and being conscripts, they're still volunteering for a role like this to be the best. So you've got to take your hats off to them. Once again, hopefully you've enjoyed this episode. We'll be moving on to episode 8 next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.